Super Witch Fireball continues to dominate the meta, and today we're going to watch some replays of one of the best Super Witch players in the world, and he's going to show you some awesome new tricks. Before we get into some of the really creative tricks that Spizz does with this army, let's start with the default attack on a very common base. And I really like this entry here. So starting with the Barb and the Archer, he is looking for Teslas. Now, if you pop the Warden ability instantly, the Fireball will not target a Tesla that is not already popped up. So you can technically just put the Warden invis down and pop, but if there are Teslas there, your Warden will go down to the Teslas afterwards. And yes, whilst you might have a successful Fireball, we need that Rage Gem for the Druids to make these Super Witches unkillable. Now, something I really like that Spizz does in every attack is look at how late he is putting the King down. He's happy to let the big boys go ahead and tank, because if the big boys die, the Super Witches just spawn more of them, but we need the King to make it to the center of the base healthy, and it's not guaranteed that the Druids will keep him alive, because look at how far the King is away from the Druids here, right? He's not really receiving a lot of healing, but we get him into the core of the base. The Queen's setting a fabulous funnel on the bottom side, and look at the damage from the Spiky Ball and the Earthquake Boots. Ridiculous. It is so strong. Yeah, it doesn't necessarily take down a lot of buildings, but it weakens them all, and the Super Witches go through the core like it's nothing. I don't know if you noticed, but the Frosty was doing a fantastic job on the bottom side with the Queen, slowing down the Monolith, and look, the core of this base has been wrecked, and the Royal Champion can easily deal with the back end of the base here. There's no defensive heroes, not really a lot of room for giant bombs either, so you know that Hog Puppet will go very hard in this attack. The King is still up. Now, that's obviously not going to happen, particularly when you're running this combination here, but don't worry, later in the video you're going to see on his second account, because we have attacks from both of his accounts here. Later you'll see him using the Earthquake Boots and the Gauntlet, so you don't necessarily have to use the Spiky Ball here. The Gauntlet is an adequate replacement, but I mean, the Spiky Ball just does so much damage exactly when you need the damage done in the core of the base. This base got wrecked. Let's jump into the next attack. This base right here is exactly what the meta's moving towards. Not a lot of Fireball value anywhere. 3 single Infernos and 2 Poison Towers. Now, yet again, starting with the Barb and the Archer, just to look for any Teslas that may be in the area. Yet again, it's not there to stop our Fireball. It's more about keeping the Warden alive. So, if you don't want to search for the Teslas, and you just put the Invis down and insta-pop your Warden ability, that is more than fine. You just need to be prepared to put down a freeze spell instantly in case there's a Tesla farm that appears right on the Warden, or have your Invis spell cover where your Warden is. One or the other. As you can see, this base is trying to bait a Fireball from the right-hand side, and even if he put the Invis down and insta-pop the Warden, obviously the Fireball won't target the Teslas because the Teslas don't pop in time, but the Teslas will take out the Warden, so I hope that kind of makes sense. Now, the King coming in here, he is taking a lot of damage really early on. Look at the Monolith putting in work. So unfortunately, look at this. The Earthquake Boots goes off a bit early. Now, that Spiky Ball is ridiculous. That's a joke that it took down the back-end Poison Tower. Not really much you can do to stop the Spiky Ball in this meta, but if you're going to use the jump early, you do need to invest your spells in keeping your King alive, because we haven't opened up the back end of the base here. Now, it's not going to stop us getting a triple. This attack strategy is too strong for that, but it's something you need to think about. If your King ability is going to go off early, then save your jump spell for later, but if you use the jump spell early, try and save your King ability as late as possible. Spizz wasn't able to do it here, but I mean, it doesn't really matter. Look at the Root Riders from the Siege Barracks. They are so good because the Queen can access the entire base. So rather than her just running on the outside of the base, getting as much value as she can, but ultimately not that much, she is vital in this attack in the end because of the 2 Root Riders. And even though the Root Riders have gotten plenty of nerfs, they still have so many hit points, particularly to open up walls on the outside of the base with the Queen behind. Pop the RC ability, Hog, Puppet, and Haste Vial still goes hard with ground attack strategies. Running the Mirror Clone and the Healer Puppet. I know some people run the Mirror Clone and the Frozen Arrow. Both are good. I think the Healer Puppet is better, honestly. Just better longevity in your Queen. But if you're willing to put a Druid on your Queens, then run the Frozen Arrow instead. This here is the attack I was really excited to show you guys. So you're going to see, yet again, putting the Barbs down for the Warden Walk. So let's have a look at this base, right? Starting the Warden here, The best possible fireball is on this builder hut. You would get rid of the scatter and the expo, and that sets a really good funnel. But have a look at this core. There is a lot invested by the defender in the core of this base, 2 spells, towers, and particularly this invis tower. And this is where the battle's going to be won or lost. So we're starting the warden walk down here, but it's just not great fireball value. But when you're doing a warden walk, right, we can't get our fireball from the warden walk this far into the base. There are too many defenses in the way, and we don't have any healers to keep the warden up, and obviously the druids only last 30 seconds. So what Spizz does here is really smart. We've got a flame flinger. Now generally, you don't use a flame flinger with this army because you need the siege barracks with the queen, right? But the flame flinger here is going to be perfect. A, because it can get rid of all these defenses, but it's going to set a funnel that, like we would have got with our fireball anyway, without using the fireball. So 1 druid is just enough for the warden here. Keep in mind the raged unicorn puts in work as well. And now we're coming straight into the defensive heroes. Now obviously you want to go straight into the defensive heroes with your main push. We do not want to be finishing on this compartment. We are leaving a lot of work for our queen here, but she's going to do a really good job. So now we jump to the core, and it's all about getting this fireball as deep in as possible. So we're going to go half speed here, because he's not just going to try and target one of these wizard towers. No, Spizz is going to try and go even further into the base. So he's been super patient here. Triple placement on the invis spells, and they go for the builder hut. Now, I think he wanted to get like one of these spell towers, but still, look at that value. Now, it does make this attack go a little crazy for the second. By the way, the king ability goes off as well, so the earthquake boots does even more damage to anything that didn't go down. Look at this, the town hall is 1 HP. Now, like I said, our troops do go a little crazy here. They are going a little all over the shop. It's not a perfectly clean attack, but the defender invested everything in this compartment, and we have successfully removed it with the invis spells and the fireball. So what can the defender do from here? Nothing. This attack will slowly fall apart. That's because he's sitting on 5 druids. That's the only reason this attack looks like it falls apart, because we're holding on to 5 druids. Like, how often do you see druids swagged in this attack strategy? And not just 1 or 2 of them, 5 druids have been swagged. The queen ability goes off on the top side. Unfortunately, she cannot reach that multi-arch tower, so we will take a lot of damage from it, but kind of crazy. A rage and a freeze for the royal champion. I mean, this base is so wrecked, and this approach is something Spizz told me that he does a little bit. Unfortunately, I don't have another replay of it in this video, but it's definitely something you should think about with this army. When there's no fireball valley on the outside of the base, just do a mini warden walk and use the fireball with the invis spells you already have to crush the most valuable part of the base. If you are enjoying Spizz's attacks today, I will link down in the description below his Twitter, and from here you can see he's got the link to his Twitch, where he will occasionally stream his Legends League attacks in case you want to see more content of his. But what about when you mess up your fireball, particularly on a base that has insanely high DPS? Well, let's find out. So Spizz here, starting with the warden walk, puts the invis down, but he didn't get the wizard tower. Now, definitely could have got the wizard tower. That was a very lazy invis there. Would have got an insane value if it worked, but has messed it up. And let's have a look at the base here. Look at these rage towers. So many defenses inside it. Invincible LG has definitely invested in these rage towers, and hopefully, for his sake, they can go to work right now, because this is the best opportunity for them to do so. Even better, nearly takes down the apprentice warden. That apprentice warden was super low there. We've got the siege barracks and the queen on the bottom side, and we're entering into the base just the same. Surely there is no way that this attack can be brought back. Well, I guess we will find out. King's going in, he's taking a lot of damage. Even the warden's taking a lot of damage. I think that was the apprentice warden that just went down. Our king's in the center of the base. Look at him. His hit points disappear so quickly. But note of this. This is not the spiky ball and the earthquake boots. So on this account, Spizz does not have the spiky ball maxed out, whereas he has the giant gauntlet maxed out. So he's using that instead, and you can definitely see the value of it there. Now, I think with a level 27 spiky ball, still would have been insane value. Both of them are good options. And I think that kind of proved it there. So if you don't have your spiky ball upgraded, but you've got the gauntlet upgraded, use it with this attack strategy. That's fine. You do need the Earthquake Boots upgraded though. The Earthquake Boots here doing 60% damage, I think it is, to all the defenses in that area is crazy. That's thousands upon thousands of, like, that is so much more damage than any hero ability can do in the game, really. Thinking of all the hit points in the core, and somehow, after completely messing up the Fireball, this is kind of overkill in the end. 3 heroes are still up nice and healthy, including 2 Super Witches. All 3 Super Witches are up. Huh? This attack strategy is OP. Now, this base looks kind of on a similar vein to that other base we saw where Spizz did the delayed Fireball. And he is going to use the Flame Flinger in this attack because, as you can see, awesome Flame Flinger value on the top side there. Very hard to turn down, even though this attack strategy kind of relies somewhat on the Siege Barracks. But he is not going to delay the Fireball here, so let's have a look. Just pops the Fireball right there, and we're going to get rid of the Royal Champion and the Expo. Now, is that insane value? No, but think of it this way, right? So I think he would have loved to have delayed the Fireball here, because getting a Fireball to that multi in the core is super strong. But there's no invis tower in the core, so getting the Fireball in there isn't as important. But more importantly, dealing with a defensive hero during your Warden Walk can get very, very dangerous. And it's just an added level of risk that you shouldn't really take with this attack strategy. It is so strong, do not risk it unless you have to. The other attack kind of needed to. There was multiple spell towers in the core of the base. But this one here, even though there is a lot of damage inside this Rage Tower, it's not going to stop this attack tripling. So, worth noting that the delayed Fireball is definitely strong, and he could have used it in this attack. But you don't have to unless you absolutely think it's necessary. So we're coming in with the main push here, and I believe he's going to pop the King ability any second. I know I would. He uses the spare Earthquake here. Pop that King ability. Oh, that is so good. And that's something I haven't even talked about in the video, but I will now. He's bringing 2 Earthquake in every attack, even if he's got the max Fireball. So on this account, so I think he's had the Sparkles account, was the first couple of replays we showed, and this one's the one with the Spade. I think that is. It's so hard to read. The Sparkles account did have a level 27 Fireball, but was still bringing 2 Earthquakes regardless. So definitely something worth noting, because some people just bring the 1 Earthquake because that's all you need. But if you want to finish off the Eagle, for instance, even if you've got a max Fireball, you do need 2 Earthquakes. So maybe that's why Spizz is bringing that, or maybe it's just practice, knowing that he hasn't got the max Fireball on both accounts, and bringing different spell comps is a little difficult. Now, in case you hadn't recognized who Spizz was, he was on a base video we did earlier in the month, and I said he was on a streak of like 110, or it might have been even more than that, like 120 triples in a row. And I'm pretty sure up until the last day, he was on a similar streak. So he's insane with this army. It's an insane army. I can't recommend you use this enough. So strong, so easy to use, so many 3 stars. If you want to see what the top 5 Town Hall 16 attack strategies are, we'll link that video on the left. And can you guess where Super Witch Fireball comes in our top 5 rankings? One way to find out.